Hi, friends. It's Katie Yersday again with another success story from a coach on our team, the Dream Team United. And I'm here with Maegan. She is a good friend of mine. She is a mom of two who's been coaching for 3.5 years. And what's cool is when she started, she actually was a stay-at-home mom who had just recently, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, left her very intense job in the corporate world. She was involved with finances, is that right? Investments?
Accounting.
Accounting. I knew it was one of those things that had to do with money.
Numbers.
And so she understands, partly because of her background with talking about accounting, but she understood the investment part of it. And she understood what it was like to have a tight budget and to go from 2 incomes down to 1. And that she also knows that sometimes when she works with coaches and challengers, they are nervous about making that investment. So I thought there was no better coach than Maegan to come in and talk to us for a couple minutes about how she got started and also that fear of, well, what am I investing in? And is this going to be too much? And can I take it on and all of that? So Maegan, can you give us a little bit of background about how you actually got started?
Absolutely. I actually like to hear the question from people or the response back to someone who says, but I don't have the money to do it, because I sat in those shoes 3.5 years ago. And I remember the first time I dabbled in Beachbody, I didn't fully commit. I didn't understand what the investment meant. I didn't ever get results because I didn't ever follow through on it. So when I became interested again and joining this challenge group and becoming a part of this whole community, I remember saying to my husband, I really, really want to do this, but we don't have the money. And he's like, just put it on a credit card. And I'm like, no, but we don't have the money then to pay it. And he was super supportive. He's like, if you really think this is something that's going to help you, then you should do it and you should go for it. And, I was a stay-at-home mom, like Katie mentioned, and I had been about 8 months out of my career world in accounting. And it was really hard for me to justify any sort of investment in myself because, we were basically pulling in the exact amount of money that we spent every month. And there just wasn't any room to go spend $140 on something that was just for me. My kids weren't going to use it. I already told my husband if I did it, there was no way I was sharing this Shakeology with them because I actually wanted to see what was going to happen if I did commit to it. So when he finally convinced me, and I remember going back and forth with my coach, like, I don't know, and is there a cheaper way that I could do this? And is there a different option? And, when it was all said and done, I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to buy this challenge pack. I'm going to jump in and I'm going to see what happens. And what happens when you combine fitness with support and nutrition, you get results. And it did not take me even the full round of the 21-day fix to realize that this was making a difference in my life. And I remember, I had already canceled the next month's shipment of Shakeology because, again, I didn't think I could afford it. And I had the same conversation with my husband. Really want another bag of Shakeology. And he's like, then order it. And I'm like, no, but we don't have any money to order it. Like, that's just not an option right now. And he's like, if you feel that it has made that much of a difference in your health and the way you feel, then we just have to figure out a way to make it work. And I was like, okay. So I talked to my coach and I, initially really just understood that if I signed up as a coach, I was going to get that 25% discount. And to me, my mind started going. I'm like, okay, well, that's going to save me $15. Like, right, check the box. Like, that's one plus to make this work for me. So while I, halfway through my challenge group signed up to get that discount, I started to already see results, and I took my pictures just like I was told, and I started sharing them with other people. And initially it was, my sister-in-law who had a baby, 9 months prior, just like me, and was like, I don't look like that, and I want to. What do I do? I'm like, well, this is what you do. And then she shared it with her friends, and I shared the health aspects of being able to go from someone who was suffering from Crohn's disease and popping 3 pills a day to monitor my symptoms to someone who learned that through diet and exercise and the help with Shakeology, not that it cured it, but it helped me, disclaimer there, but it made me realize I didn't actually need that medicine anymore. And I was able to control my symptoms with that. So what was an investment, and took a little bit of encouragement from my husband to do what I felt was right, turned into something that in the long run actually was saving me money because I wasn't spending the money on the doctor's appointments. I don't know if anyone's ever had to have, go see a digestive specialist, but that's expensive. It's not something that's fully covered by your insurance. And I used to go annually for that on top of my medicine for that. And I've gone one time in the last 3.5 years, at which point my doctor was like, you're cleared. So I look at the overall long-term effects of what that investment did at $140 3.5 years ago. And it has more than paid itself off throughout these last couple years.
So I think we're all going to pick your brain for a second, because I know for me, when I started, I put it on a credit card. But I know that there are other ways to go about thinking about how you're going to invest, like the actual how-to. So my question for you is, do you have tips for people who, really do want to get started, but are really uncomfortable just spending that money? What are some of the tips or strategies, even from a financial standpoint, that you would suggest to people when they get started?
The first thing I like to do is really just think about where you're spending your money. Like, I have actually sat down with potential customers of mine and been like, okay, if you really want to make this work and you're telling me you don't have the money, let's talk about it and let's see what we can do. Because like I said, when we were truly month to month just making ends meet, I mean, I sat with every circular on Sunday mornings and I looked at all the prices of where I could get. And there were times I would go to like Aldi and then Giant Eagle and then Walmart, because I could get different things different places. And I began to learn what costs where, because we did not have the extra money. I did every coupon that I could find. So that was like that's the first thing I always try to, like, where are you spending your food on? I know with just our family of 4, if we eat out and go grab lunch at Panera, that's at least like $45 for like me to get a meal, my husband to get a meal, and my kids to get a meal. Like, scrap that twice a month, you've got $90 and make some sandwiches at home. Like, I started to learn where I used to spend money or overspend money, or where I wished I could go and wasn't doing anymore. Like, okay, like, where can we pull this? And I truly believe if you can get that first investment together, like if you can save up, and it might take a couple months to where you can get to that point where you're maybe putting aside your Starbucks run. If you maybe, I know I used to work in the city, and that was a common afternoon activity. We would all get together when we were tired and exhausted from sitting at our desks all day. We would walk to Starbucks and everybody would get a coffee. So if you're doing things like that you're spending money, that's an easy thing that you can cut out. I mean, I still drink my Starbucks tea. I just make it at home now. So finding those little things that you can tweak. And I really lean in on the money back guarantee, because I was one of those people who, like, I remember being told that if you don't like it, return it. And I was like, I could drink this for a month and ship an empty bag back and get $100. I was like, okay. But I didn't. Like, there was no way that I wasn't going to be satisfied with it. But if somebody's hesitant, like, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So I like to make sure people understand that, like, it is a no fuss. Like, drink it for 30 days or drink for 2 weeks. And if you're not loving it and feel that it's worth that $4 a day investment in your health, then I'll help you ship it back. I'll get you a return label and do it for you. But I think that you have to help people believe that it's beyond just this one shake. Like, for me, it has made such a difference in my health. That I just feel like that is something that everybody needs to understand. And until you've done it yourself, it's kind of harder to put in words. You just kind of have to establish that relationship with people to where they trust you and understand that.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. And the one thing that I just want to add to this that I think is so key is that with a company like Beachbody, your investment is in you. Like, you are not asked to front product. You are not going to be storing inventory. You do not have to buy products that you aren't using. The product you are using is your consumable. It is what you yourself would be using, whether you're a coach or a challenger. And one of our vital behaviors is being a product of the product. And it's an investment in your own health. You make it as a challenger, you make it as a coach. And I just want to add that extra layer to it, because I think that sometimes we look at it in addition to. Like, signing up as a coach is in addition to, when in actuality, it's really just an investment in what you should be doing in your own health, and being proactive about your fitness, your nutrition, and just your accountability piece of it too. So, Maegan, in closing, is there any last words of advice or tips or strategies you would suggest to anyone who is like you were, really nervous about that initial investment?
I think it's really just have that conversation with your coach. Like, if you want to be a coach, like, I look back now and think of that little conversation with my husband that I was so hesitant on, that he encouraged me to do, and how it's turned into this business. Like, I went from an accountant who was spending no time at home with her family to a stay-at-home mom who lost all independence, to someone who now is able to balance that both. And I'm able to do that through something that really took an investment in myself, because I was trying to lose those last few post-baby pounds. I found a way to manage a autoimmune disease that I had been suffering with for 7 years. And through the business and the blessings it's given my family, like, I can't help but share that. And I can't help but just, like, everyone has their own story. And until you have your own, listen to everyone else's, be inspired, realize that what everyone else has done, you can do too. If you believe in it, believe in yourself, and trust the process. Like, I saw what it was doing for everyone else, and I was like, you know what, this is legit, and I believe that this can do something for me, and I just kind of went full force ahead.
That is amazing advice. Maegan, thank you so much for your time. And you guys, if you want to check in with Maegan, make sure that you reach out to her or message her or just tag her in our group, and she will be sure to get back to you. All right. Thanks, guys.